Back at the American Legion Speedway for the 1-2 cash game for the second weekend in a row. I gotta redeem myself. Last week I lost about $180, so I brought another $200 today for the 1-2 cash game. The goal again is to turn 200 into 500. I do only have a few hours to play because it's almost 8 p.m. right now and they close at 11, so I gotta make something happen within 3 hours. Hopefully we can make it work. Let's get to the action. Let's kick off this vlog here. We're playing a 1-2 blind cash game and I bought in with a maximum of $200. We're starting off with 10-8 of spades in the big blind. Under the gun limps, hijack raises it to $15. I make the call and under the gun follows, also making the call. We're 3 ways to the flop, which comes out nothing worth me betting here, but I do have some back doors. So I check it and everyone else checks too. Their turn comes out with a very interesting card for me, bringing in a backdoor gut shot straight draw. I decided to lead with a 1/3 pot size bet of $15. Under the gun folds and hijack calls. Heads up to a river that brings in the 7 of diamond. I completely miss. But I think this is something that I can represent here considering I'm in the big blind. So I decide to make a bet of $55, hoping he has something like 2 overs and I can steal a pot. He thinks for a moment and even asks me how much I have left behind. And I don't really like the sound of that, but as soon as I show him my stack, he folds and we take it down for a $46 profit. Coming up next, we wake up with ace-jack offsuit in the small blind. Low jack raises it to $10, cutoff calls, and I also call, everyone else folding. 3 players to the flop, and it's not the best flop for me, but I do have a gut shot straight draw with 2 overcards. I decided to check it, then low jack bets $10. Cutoff makes the call, and I also make the questionable call, hoping that I can improve on the turn. The turn comes out and we do improve here, but there's a lot that beats me here, so I decide to play it safe and check it down just to see what they do. And they actually check it around. That's a good sign. The river comes out a blank and I believe I got the best hand at this point. So I decide to make just over a 1/3 pot size bet of $25 to try and get a call from someone with a weaker pair. They both end up folding and we take it down. Coming into the very next hand, I get dealt queen 10 of diamond on the button. Low jack and hijack both limps it. I pump it up to $10. Small blind, big blind, and hijack all make the call. We're 4 ways to the flop. That comes out with 2 diamonds. The big blind bets $16. Hijack folds. I call thinking I will have enough pot odds and equity here if the small blind calls, or if I consider the implied odds if a diamond comes. Small blind does end up calling, giving just about the odds I need to make this a profitable call. Of course, if nobody has a better flush draw here. But nobody 3-bet me pre-flop and I hold 2 blockers. So I'm not really putting anyone on an ace or a king of diamond in this spot. The turn comes out a 8 of diamond and boom, we hit the flush. After it's checked to me, I think for a moment, then bet just over half pot with $50. Small blind immediately shoves it all in with $27 on top of my bet. Big blind folds, and of course I make the call with only $27 more, and we both turn over our cards. He shows me the devastating king 5 of diamonds. Ouch. The river is irrelevant and I'm drawing dead. He takes down a $244 pot. I guess that's why he didn't 3-bet me. It makes sense. That's a big hit to my stack, so I decided to buy in with another $40, so I'm not playing short here. Next up, it's folded to me in the low jack position with king queen off. I raised it to $15 and hijack makes the call. We're going heads up to the flop and it comes out pretty good for my hand. I check it down to hide the strength of it with a plan to call if he bets. He decides to check it back, then the turn comes out a 9 of heart. Not the best card for me considering it completes the straight, and also there's a lot of 2-pair combos in his range. So at this point, I think it's best to play this cautiously here and check it. He bets $20 and I call thinking we might be any 1-pair hand he could have in this spot. So let's see how he acts on the river. The river comes out an ugly jack of spade, and now it's 1 card to a straight, and there's so many hands that beat me here, so I check again. He also checks it and flips over pocket 8s, flopping a set. I think I lost a bare minimum in this hand, and I believe I played it well, even though I quickly lost the $40 I just bought in with. I guess it's time to grind this up and try to make a crazy comeback, so let's get to it. The next playable hand I come into is the ace 9 of spades in the cutoff position. +1 limps it, and so does low jack. Hijack pumps it up to an aggressive $25. That's pretty interesting. He's got to be very strong here because it's the first time he's raised this much. But I am in position with the suited ace, so I make the call. Both limpers make the call, which is not really a good thing for this kind of hand. Unless, of course, spades come out. It's 4 ways to the flop. That comes out queen of spades, 6 of club, ace of heart. Not what I was hoping for, but I did spike an ace. I still need to play this cautiously here because the original raiser could definitely have me out kicked. Then it surprisingly checks around super fast. The turn comes out a 10 of heart. Hijack makes a $15 bet, which is such a small bet considering the pot size. So I gotta make the call and see what actions are taken next. The other 2 players fold, and that's good for me. It's heads up to the river, that comes the 8 of diamond. He checks it, and with my mediocre ace, I decide to check it back. He shows us pocket kings, and we take the pot down. Not much time goes by after I wake up with the monster pocket aces in the big blind position. It's lent by under the gun +1 and +2. Low jack also limps, then hijack raises it to $20. And that's exactly what I wanted to see, an aggressive raise. Small blind makes the call, and I'm thinking it's time to get some isolation here because there's just way too many people in this pot, and I can't just call this, enticing the original limpers to call too with their pot odds in favor. It's time to get aggressive here, so I pump it up to $70. It folds to the original raiser in the hijack position, and he goes into the tank big time. He's checking my chip stack out, he's counting out his chips, and I'm just hoping he shoves it or at the very least calls. Then he decides to shove it. Let's go. Small blind folds it to me and I make the snap call.
What's the cry?
What do you want to do?
Cry?
Twice is fine. Wants to run it twice.
Stay low!
All these guys are on fucking video here.
Fucking ball basket. Where's an ace?
Right here.
Good bet, buddy.
Thank you.
This will take both.
Good bet.
We win both boards and we take down a massive pot, more than doubling my chip stack. We went from a short stack to being back in the game. Let's get it. I'm heating up and I'm ready to crush some more souls. Let's go. Coming up next, Under the Gun raises to $10 with only about $70 left behind. I look down at ace queen in the low jack and pump it up to $25. The small blind makes the call along with Under the Gun. It's 3 ways to a flop that gives me top pair with top kicker. But this board is very wet with flush draws and straight draws, so with it being 3 ways, I decided to bet pot after it's checked to me for some protection. Both players snap fold and I win an easy pot. Coming into the next playable hand, I look down at pocket jacks in the small blind. Hijack raises it up to $10, the cutoff calls, and I 3-bet it to $30. The big blind shoves all in for his remaining $57. Hijack calls the 57, cutoff folds, and I make the call too. The flop comes. I think he's very capable of holding an ace here, being the original raiser and calling the $57 bet, so I check it down and he snap checks it back. The turn comes out to the amazing jack of hearts, and now I can't help but to think how I'm going to crush my opponent's soul. And he does it for me, going all in out of turn with about $200. And with the second nuts, I make the snap call. The river comes out of blank. Hijack shows ace queen off and big blind shows a set of 9s. We take down another massive pot and knock out 2 players from the table. I'm pumped up now because we are no longer short stacked, and I worked it all the way up to about $800. Let's go. Coming into the next playable hand, I'm dealt ace queen offsuit in the cutoff. +1 raises to $20, and I know he's capable of betting $20 in this spot pretty light. So I 3-bet to $45. Button makes the call, and so does +1. We're 3 ways to a flop, which is not the best flop for me, but I do have a gut shot, 2 overs, and backdoor spades. +1 bets 25, which is a small bet given the pot size, so I make the call, hoping to improve on the turn. The straight does come in with the ace coming on the turn, but I have a blocker, which is the queen in my hand, making it less likely he has king queen here. On top of that, he bet a small $25 on the turn, which is odd, and makes me think he might have a weak hand and just trying to steal it here. So I decide to raise it up to $100 to apply max pressure. Button folds and +1 goes all in. Okay, I'm sure he's got me beat now, but at this point it's only $57 more, and I gotta try to win the pot since it's $477. So I can't really fold. We decide to run it twice, and the first river comes a blank, and so does the second river. He shows us ace jack for 2 pair, and we got our souls crushed. Nice hand. Now let's move on to the next. Moving on to the next playable hand, under the gun, low jack, hijack, all limps in. Cutoff raises it to $12. Button makes the call. I call in the big blind with pocket 8s, and all the original limpers call as well. This is the last hand of the night, and that's why we're seeing a lot of action with 6 people going to the flop. The flop comes out, button raises it to 25 after it's checked around, and I call. Everyone else folds, and we're heads up to a turn. We both check it around. The river comes out with the queen. I think he might have me beat here, but with his check on the turn, it makes me believe he just might be scared of the flush. So I guess I can try to represent a flush here, trying to steal the pot with a $70 bet, and he snap calls, showing 7-5 for the 2 pair. Bad bluff, but it was a good game.
Easy. 1, 2, 3, 20, 40, 60, 84, 20, 40, 60, 85.
Alright, thank you. Appreciate it.
And there you have it. I cashed out for almost exactly $500. So I made the goal. Actually, I'm a little behind the goal because I did end up putting an extra $40 in when I made it down to like $110 or so. And I added $40 to it. But I still cashed out with $501, and I bought in with $240. So quick little double up, more than a double up. I'll take it all day. It's unfortunate that, I lost couple of big hands to the same guy that I got it all in with the aces versus king and queen. He had a couple of hands that were better than mine, and he won a couple of big pots. I think I was up to around 800, almost 800 at one point, and dwindled down to 500. But it started off slow. I mean, the first hour I was there, I wasn't getting any hands. I was completely card dead, and the dealer kind of hinted to me, hey, you can change the deck, but I can't do it myself. And I said, so I have to request it? He said yes. So I made the request, and then suddenly everything changed for me. Things started getting pretty wild. I was getting hands. People were calling everything off for me and putting me all in, like you seen with the king queen off. On aces, I couldn't ask for a better hand to go against. So everything went well. I'm up now after last week's loss, so everything's good, and I'll see you guys on the next one here next week at the American Legion's 1-2 cash game. We're gonna run it back and try to do the same thing, buy in with 200, maybe a little bit more now that I got some extra play money, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully we can have a profitable first month here in the American Legions for my vlog. So see you guys on the next one. Peace.